Hey everyone, do you think we should talk about Pretty Little Liars? I think we should talk about Pretty Little Liars. First of all, we're not talking about Pretty Little Liars for just a second. I gotta say how frustrated Windows Live Movie Maker makes me. I have tried on two different computers. I had a great video last night of the episode 6 recap, but unfortunately, stuff went down with that one, and the computer that it was on was taken out of town today. So I borrowed this new iPhone with a way better video making skills than mine. I really miss my Samsung, and I'm just so fed up with Windows, period. I really should get a Mac. Anyway, let's talk about Pretty Little Liars, Season 5, Episode 6, called Run Allie Run. First of all, can I just say that I find the recaps at the beginning of the show completely useless. I mean, I really don't care what happened last week. I already know what happened last week. I want to know some of these mysteries that are surrounding us still, like the 5 million mysteries we still have going on. That would help a little refresher course every now and then. PLL producers or whoever sets up the recaps, probably the producers. I don't know. I'm not a film person. I enjoy them, but I don't like making them, as obvious by today when I spent almost all of this evening trying to figure out how to work that stupid thing. So anyway, the episode starts off with the Miss Me Bitches text from A. Yes, A is back. And shortly followed that is Toby runs off into the house that's burning. Great job, Toby, let me tell you. This one's got a lot of common sense. Spencer chews as well. And the house gives one last kaboom and just goes up in smoke. So at this point, I'm freaking out about Toby. I mean, he's so cute. But Spencer gets a text from Toby when the girls are gathered, and he says that they're fine. His dad broke his leg, but him and Caleb are at the hospital, and this makes me so excited because Caleb and Toby are my favorite bromance ever. They're so adorable, and I just love them. I love them. Oh my gosh, they're so cute. So anyway, when they're talking, Aria seems pretty convinced that A is a woman. She says she's been watching and waiting for the right moment to resurface, and it just seemed like she was pretty darn convinced that A was a woman. Whenever anybody else refers to A, it's usually a gender neutral thing, or if they do refer to a specific sex, they switch it up. Like one time they'll say she, and then another time they'll say he. And I also found it interesting that they said, what if A is someone we haven't even thought about yet? Which, I mean, I don't think they've scratched the surface on the possible A suspects. I think they're very narrow-minded at this point and have a few suspects in mind, but I don't think they know all the secrets. I don't think they can put the whole puzzle together yet. Hannah runs into Caleb at the brew, and Caleb says that he's not sticking around, that he is not wanting to commit to anything, and I took that to mean to anyone. And Halo fans all over the world sobbed. Yes, I heard you in my house. You shook my walls. You need to keep it down. I mean it. It scared my dogs. He also made a joke about the police, and I just thought that was funny. And the police were actually there when Toby's house caught fire, and I was like, wow, they're actually somewhere. You know, they're always just kind of out of the loop and not really helping doing anything, but then the girls don't really get them involved. But still, it's been 4 years. It's time for somebody other than Lieutenant Tanner to start connecting the dots, okay? Come on now. Caleb also says that A doesn't shoot and miss. So it makes me think that one of two things is happening with the Kavanaugh house fire. That it wasn't A that set the fire, or the natural gas leak, as we're now calling it. Does anybody believe that? Okay. that it wasn't A, or if it was A, that either Jenna or Toby have gotten an A text and A wanted them to do something and they just flat out refused to do it, and this is the retribution. I'm not sure which one I believe quite yet. I don't know if Mona is evil enough or anybody in her little army is evil enough to start a fire. So right now I'm leaning more toward the A theory, that A gained something out of it. Because right now on the surface, it looks like it was just completely useless just to get the girls' attention and get them focused back on A. So Arya and Ezra are chilling in Ezra's apartment, and Arya's doing her freak out thing about Shauna, and Ezra's going through some boxes, and we find out that Ezra is looking for something about a connection between Bethany and Mrs. De Laurentiis. He says he has these interviews from Radley that he did while he was writing his book. I find this extremely shady. He's writing a book on Allie. Why would he have access to Radley information? And I mean, that is, you can't release patient information. You can't release a whole lot, as evidenced by Eddie Lamb telling Spencer, I can't tell you anything. So either he has connections or he was never at Radley. His little security cameras were at Radley. I don't know, because somebody was watching Spencer on that monitor, I think. I think that might come back into play, but I really don't know yet. I just found that really, really shady that he was even at Radley at all. I've heard theories today that maybe it was his good buddy Ren. So we'll have to wait and see. So Spencer and Mr. Hastings have a moment where they are both convinced that the other one is innocent. Spencer's convinced her dad didn't kill Mrs. De Laurentiis, and Mr. Hastings is convinced that Spencer didn't try and kill Allie or Bethany. I don't know. Mr. Hastings tells Spencer that him and Melissa were at the lake talking on the night of Mrs. De Laurentiis' death, and I found that really weird. Melissa doesn't really talk. I mean, she's holding out something, and we want to know. So why are they down at the lake? It's just, I don't know. The lake is just a shady place to be on the night that somebody gets murdered. I mean, it's almost as bad as a church. Way to pick that hidey hole, Allison, from last episode. Jeez. So Arya and Spencer are at school, and Arya gets a call from Ezra. And after she hangs up, Spencer starts grilling her, and she admits that they had 2 moments, and Spencer is like, what are you doing? Are you stupid? He played you for 4 years. You dumb. I think she's good to point it out, because I do think Ezra is holding on to some major info, but I also think that her and Toby situation, where Toby broke her heart and he let her believe he was dead and all that good stuff, I think that she's really not the one to lecture Arya, but I think it needed to be pointed out. I mean, Arya is just running right back to Ezra. She hasn't even given it, she gave it maybe a couple of weeks, and we all saw her wavering and her eye twitching every time he was mentioned or he walked into her room. I don't know. So Jumpy Girls joined the table, Emily, Allison, and Hannah, and seriously, if a fly landed on one of their shoulders, they would probably freak out. Good reason, though, because A is back. And Allie gets a text message from A. First, it's a video of her mom being buried. And I thought that was a little overkill. I mean, we know A is evil, but still, that was just way over the top. I was like, damn, A's not playing. And then it's followed by a text that said, I buried your mother the same way I watched her bury you. And then the message, like, gets deleted or whatever. A pulled out all the stops on that one, and I thought that was insane. But anyway, in Hannah's kitchen, they are thinking about A, and Spencer says, at least my dad is innocent, where Arya quickly jumps up and says, not unless he's A. Arya. Last season, these girls were tiptoeing around you because they didn't want you to find out that Ezra was A. And little Miss Blunt Arya goes, oh, I think your dad might be A. Really tactful, Arya. Really tactful. Allie just wants to leave, and they're all kind of questioning why A isn't killing her. A's been hunting her for 2 years, and they just want to know what's going on. So Spencer goes to Radley, and we see Lieutenant Tanner there, and she's very disappointed that Radley can't cooperate with her, and she kind of hides behind her magazine. And we think that Lieutenant Tanner hasn't seen her, but this woman has eyes like a hawk, so I'm pretty sure that she might know. I don't know. If she were an eagle and Spencer were a mouse in a field like 100 miles below her, I'm pretty sure she would like swoop down right away. This lady picks up everything. This lady can connect the dots like dot, like doop, 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 doop. Okay, sorry. I don't know what shape that was. It was like maybe a circle, has no end. I kind of feel that way about Lieutenant Tanner. She's going to keep digging until she finds something. Eddie Lamb comes out and he tells Spencer that he agrees with her that it's not a coincidence about Bethany Young being buried in Mrs. DeLaurentis' backyard, that he can't tell her anything else. And then he gets a mysterious phone call and rushes away. Spencer's seen on camera leaving Radley. So Allie and Hannah are at Hannah's house, and Travis shows up and reminds Hannah they have a date, and she is totally forgotten. He's starting to see that he's being snubbed out of the picture, and he kind of leaves after looking at the house longingly. Hannah comes back, and Allie is on the phone. We don't know who yet, but we find out later that it was Noel, we think, and she's planning to leave. And she's worried that Hannah won't help her, but Hannah says, okay, let's do it. Let's get you out of Rosewood. She says she would love, Allison says she would love to stay, but she can't. So I don't know if Allie would really love to stay or if she's just making crap up because it's Allie and she lies about everything. I'm not sure. So Arya and Ezra are looking through boxes at Ezra's apartment still, and Lieutenant Tanner comes to the door with a manila envelope that is labeled Ezra Fitz. And she goes in and starts questioning him about New York, about why there's gunpowder residue on Shauna and why she was shot and her body found in the Fitzgerald Theater and why he was shot the night before. And like I said, she's connecting the dots. Arya thinks she's hiding, but this dumb girl has done left her purse out. And we've seen this lady is quick on the uptake. She looks at the purse, and we know she knows she's there. And we know that Arya only seems more guilty for hiding. I mean, that was just a dumb move for Arya. So Paige is at the pool, and she gets out and goes to her locker and starts to change. And Emily just pops out, like, total creeper moment. And I was like, oh, damn. Like, my heart was literally being out of my chest at that point, even though she's a little tiny old Emily. But she is demanding to know who is on the list for Mona's army. And we later find out that Paige tells her names. Mr. and Mrs. Hastings talk after Spencer invites her dad to dinner. But we'll get to that in a little bit. So Hannah and Allie are getting ready to go, and Allie wants to go home and have dinner with her dad and grab a few clothes. Arya's freaking out again back at Ezra's place. She says Ezra lied to a police officer and he's going to be in trouble, and she drug him into this, and he said, I came into this when I started writing a book. She goes, well, we should hide these boxes at my house. My dad's in Syracuse until Sunday, and I can put them in my attic. Arya, your daddy ain't ever home, and it would be the perfect place to hide these boxes because nobody is ever home at your house. It's just you and Mike, and I haven't seen Mike. So we could very well assume that Arya has killed him and buried him in the backyard. This seems like a very popular trend in Rosewood right now. Hashtag burying in the backyard, okay? So give me 1 second and I'm gonna start another video and we'll continue.